Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric tabletop role-playing games here on the internet, and we stream them for you. Sometimes we stream one-shots, once a month to be precise, where we take a tour of various different systems, different games, and take them out for a single session spin. This is the latest one of those. We're playing Cyborg, which is, and I told myself I'd try and remember to get it out first, and then completely forgot, which is the new spin-off of the acclaimed MÖRK BORG from Stockholm Cartel and Free League. It is an excellent apocalyptic doomsday cyberpunk minimalist RPG with a lot of hyper-violent cyberpunk nonsense. Which is something we really enjoy here on Telling Tales. So we've been looking forward to playing it for a while. Before I start introducing the game and the players and all that sort of thing, I'll go through my usual blurb. So, as I said, we are Telling Tales. If you check the links below, you will find a number of interesting things, including our Twitch and our YouTube. You're watching this on one of those. Why not check out the other one? Our YouTube is where all our video on demand lives, and there is now just thousands of hours, probably, of content, long-running campaigns, lots of one-shots. There's bound to be something on there that you'll like, so please do have a look at that. There's links to our social media, our Discord, and our Patreon. Those all do the things you're familiar with. Have a look at them if you're interested. Currently, we run 2 weekly campaign games. Mondays is Vason with Jonny, who you will see in a second as one of the players in this. And Wednesdays is Simbaroom, our sort of flagship campaign that's been running since the very beginning of the channel. We also do one-shots once a month, as I said. This is the October one-shot. November might be a thing to do with Hobbits, but we haven't fully nailed it down yet. Just if you wanted a complete contrast to what we're about to do. So there we go. I think that's all my blurb out of the way. So without any further ado, let's talk about Cyborg. So in Cyborg, which as I said is a kind of spiritual spin-off from MÖRK BORG, which is the sort of black metal fantasy role-playing game. In Cyborg, we are in an anomalous, unspecified future, maybe of this world, maybe not. And we are in a city, maybe the only real city that remains, called Psy. New capitalists rule from glass towers in Central. Immortal OG money aristocrats in gated mansions, in gated communities, in gated enclaves in the hills. This month's VIP celebs rule from their e-personas and clubs in the ports, gangs rotting in their turf in the slums bordering Geo, neo-mediums from whatever accursed den their cult claims as hallowed ground. All of them are building their own kingdoms and armies. We should have burned this city centuries ago. And with that in mind, let's start bringing in our characters. First of all, it's Justin. Hello,
hey.
Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Well, I'm looking forward to really my usual fare, which is just
dying super fast.
Dying super fast. But not only that, dying super fast, living fast, dying young. In the
true cyberpunk. Cyberpunk.
And everyone of the whole group, I think we all know that I am the most cyberpunk of all of the Telling Tales team.
You're certainly the most punk person I know, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've always said that.
And I'll be playing Zine, a nanomancer who is twisted physically and mentally by the nano powers that they have harnessed from this chaotic world. He's twitchy. He wants to kill. He's got an odd obsession with porcelain figures. He's Zine.
He's Zine. So in this world, kind of nano infestations have spread out from the various horrible places in Psy, and some people can harness that. Although whether they are harnessing it or the nano infestation is harnessing them is kind of unclear, but there we go. Let's bring on our next player. Let's bring on Chris. Chris is playing a burned hacker called... well, do you want to pronounce the name of your character, Chris? Because I wouldn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, so my character's called H-Law. He is a hacker who, well, he was a fairly well-respected hacker, but has been burned. He's lost his way, because when you work red team, you only need to make one mistake to lose the whole career. And that's where he is now, desperately trying to get unlisted jobs and figure out what truly was loaded into his cranium the last time he broke into the corp networks.
Absolutely. So basically, just a modern character with no particular thing. Let's bring on our next player. Our next player is Jonny, coming to us right from the GM seat on Monday nights. Hello, Jonny. Hello, Jonny. Jonny is playing. Is it Jan?
It's Jan. Yes.
Jan.
And I am a discharged corp killer.
Yeah. That sounds exciting.
Yeah. I was out in the wastelands, kind of mowing people down, taking out other corporations' infrastructure and maybe workers, who can say. And also, if there was any sort of plant life or anything out there, or animals. Not anymore.
A wasteland needs to stay a wasteland, am I right?
It really does, yeah. I was unfortunately, maybe I saw a cute bunny that I didn't take out, and no, it wasn't that. I think decided that the corporation wasn't on my side, so I potentially wasn't going to be on the corporation's side anymore, and did some things that got me booted.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about whether the corps are on your side or not in a minute, because after we do this, we're not going to go through all the rules in detail for Cyborg. We'll kind of introduce them as we go, but we will talk about the rule zero of Cyborg, because it's something to bear in mind. Okay, let's bring on our next player. Let's bring on Steve. Steve is playing Wick, an orphaned gearhead. Steve.
Hello. So Wick was part of a crew alongside a hacker that they got on quite well with. Wick is, as you say, an orphan gearhead, so repairing, fixing, building all sorts of machines, turrets, that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, something went badly wrong on a last venture, and this friend of his was looked like they died, brain death, burnt out completely. But Wick believes that their spirit is somewhere still in the mainframe. So, long-term goal, perhaps, to maybe obsession.
Absolutely. And nothing says Cyborg more than a long-term goal that will definitely be achievable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's bring on our final player today. Let's bring on John to complete the Jonny biumvirate of people called John. John is playing a renegade cyber slasher, which seems positive. John, why don't you talk to us about, is it Info?
Yes. So Info is a man who spent a lot of time and money and Faustian bargains turning himself into the perfect killing machine to further a cause that he felt very passionately about. Unfortunately, he never found that cause, and none of the causes available to him paid enough. So now he's just a killer for hire who is desperately trying to murder people for money before his debtors catch up with him.
Sounds good. So before we talk about where your characters are and what's going on, as I said, let's do a bit of the old talking about the rule zero of Cyborg, which is this: player characters cannot be loyal to or have sympathy for the corps, the cops, or the capitalist system. They might find themselves reluctantly forced to do missions for them or their minions, but make no mistake, they are the enemy. A valuable rule for life. I mean, Cyborg. So, bearing that in mind, let's talk about where you are in the city of Psy. And what's going on in the city of Psy. You are, as our story begins, basically directly between two districts. On one side is the slum of Big Moss. Now, the slums of Psy are marked by the weight of their wounds. Gangs fight the cults fight the militias, an uncontrollable spiral of violence, drugs, and destruction to determine who is control in the detritus of Psy. You'll find most things among these rundown gutters, honest but broken people dreaming of a different future, underground shadow markets for food, fuel, and stolen military hardware, hole in the wall, no questions asked Reaper Doc clinics that may just fix you up or might harvest your organs. As I mentioned, gangs dominate these kind of places, particularly in Big Moss. The Virid Vipers, who are major players in the Psy drug trade, and the heirs of Kurgos wage a long and bloody gang war that makes a miserable life worse. On the other side of Big Moss from where you are the ports. There's no real escape from the city of Psy, even with 3 ways out, but the ports offer the illusion of escape from within a labyrinthine universe of steel, concrete, and abandoned warehouses. The port district near where you are specifically has the air and space routes out of Psy. And in fact, you are very, very close to what effectively passes for Psy's airport. So anytime I describe to you what the city sounds like or the sounds you can hear, please overlay it with an absolute constant Dopplering mechanical sort of vibration and screech of various aircraft, some hover-based, some jet engines, some odd corporate experimental developments roaring overhead as these vehicles make their way in and out of the city. And speaking of the city, it hasn't been, even for Psy, a very good time recently. A blight of buzzing locusts has obliterated the factory farms to the south and have now reached the city, obscuring the sun to those on mid-level or lower. You're definitely in the lower part of that. The cost of food has skyrocketed for at least the next 2 weeks, and the famished in various parts of the city are rioting. Well, not all of them are rioting. Some of them are trying to desperately take what jobs they can in order to pay for food. That includes you. All of you are, low level. How to phrase exactly what you are? You are all extra legal troubleshooters, shall we say, with something of a reputation within Big Moss and the ports, although whether that reputation is kind of they get the job done or they'll do anything for money is a point of debate. We've discussed before this, for anyone who's interested, the 5 players are entirely at their own liberty to determine the relationships between the characters, with the only sort of caveat on that: don't do it before we start. So we're going to improvise exactly how much they know each other, whether they know each other at all, whether they've heard of each other, whether they're enemies, whether they're rivals, whether they're friends. It's entirely up to them as we move forwards. And where we're going to pick up is in a sort of bar slash brothel slash warehouse slash general store called the Tantalouse. You have all decided to respond to a obscure job posting on the net from an unnamed individual who says, turn up at this place at this time if you want to be paid for things. The very nature of the ad suggests that it won't be wholesome things that you're being paid to do. But let's have some fun with you arriving before the contact arrives. So first off, and I'm entirely going to randomize this, the first person who arrives there is going to be Zine. I mean, perhaps Zine always knew that it had to be here somehow. Zine, could you describe yourself, please?
Yeah, Zine is a especially tall, kind of like what we call in the biz razor mouth style, twitching rat slash like rag of a person, who has unnatural, wide pupilled eyes and an elongated, almost pointed head that occasionally from underneath, like, or between the gaps in the whatever hat or covering he's got in it, emits a candle-like light. He is constantly twitching and jerking and reacting to the things around him, and stumbles into this bar, finds a place to sit down, and buries his head in his hands, while occasionally, shaking off something that he can feel crawling up and down his skin.
In my head, those hands got cradling his head have that candlelight, like, just seeping out slightly
occasionally.
Yeah, nice. Well, Zine's probably there for a while first, I imagine.
Nowhere better to be.
Absolutely. But inevitably, then, Hla, you enter the Tantalus, look around. You probably recognize a few people around there, at least by sight. You certainly recognize Zine, who doesn't recognize Zine from the area. It's quite distinctive. What are you going to do?
Well, there's a habit of giving Zine a bit of an exclusion zone. So I'm going to go and perch myself on a table nearby, but certainly not at the same table. Hla has arrived, a pretty ill-looking child with, not so much child, but someone who's very maybe malnourished before even the locusts arrived. He has a long trench coat, which is kind of fluffy faux leather that's seen a million better days. And where's my other little thing that I've got here? Oh, I thought I had an extra.
I believe you had subdermal implants.
Subdermal implants, yeah, which are
yeah.
subdermal. So if you're paying a great deal of attention, you'll spot like bulges where there shouldn't be. But it's kind of par for the course for kind of transhumanist kids sewing magnets into their skin and that sort of thing. He seems to be muttering to himself.
Excellent. So we have Zine and Hla there, sort of staying a bit clear of each other. And the next person to arrive in the Tantalus is Jan. So, Jonny, do you want to describe Jan? And also, are you joining either of these? Yeah, let's say at the very least, we know of each other by sight, by kind of reputation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. So Jan walks in. When he was discharged, he walked out in the clothes that he was wearing, so he's still in corp gear, but sort of debadged almost. So if you'd worked for the corp, you'd recognize the cut and whatever, but all the badge stuff has been sort of scraped out. And he's hood up, sunglasses on, always. And Jan would know Hla. I reckon they've probably been on a job together previously, a sort of because Jan's pretty quick in and out of a building or what have you. So I think if there's been some kind of job that's involved getting the doors open and getting somebody in, then they would have worked together on something like that. Probably maybe not worked with Zine before, but as you said, definitely recognizes him by sight. I think Jan will walk over and, hey, Sla.
Oh, the only good cop in the city. Sit down.
Drinking?
Not at these prices.
Probably turn and watch the door, I suppose.
Absolutely. In which case, you see the entry of our next individual, who is going to be Empho. Empho walks through the door at this point. John, tell us about Empho and what he does.
Empho is a very tall and lean individual in a very long and suspiciously bulky trench coat. And that is about as far as like recognizable, like normal descriptions can go, because his face is like a constantly changing like pattern of almost glitches, as if it's like slightly below the surface. He has subdermal anti-facial recognition, which kind of just manifests as like squares
Like
or
artifacting
lines
sort of thing.
and occasional and other than that, he doesn't have eyebrows or hair. It is just this weird pattern over his face and chest, which is bare under the trench coat. And he walks in, adjusts his trench coat as if to keep it closed, adjusts his trench coat as if to stop it rubbing against the back of his neck, and then just sort of awkwardly heads to a corner where he can scratch at his shoulder blades in on his own terms without too many people watching him and not really looking as cool as he wishes he did.
Fair enough. Then let's have it be a few more minutes before our final individual arrives, and then Wick can walk through the door. Steve, tell us about Wick and tell us what he does.
Okay. You might, the first thing you notice actually might be like this sort of mechanical scuttling sound, sort of under some of the tables, maybe some movement in the darkness. And then this sort of spider-like cyber turret, size of a dog, fairly small dog, appears and sort of surveys the scene. And when the coast looks, reasonably clear, Wick will slip out of the shadows and join you. Wick is kind of wearing like something plated over their clothes. It's like sort of oily, iridescent plates that cover most of their form. They look pretty spindly and weak under that, so sort of maybe like a beetle, kind of like a beetle style affair. And yes, Wick will approach and survey the rest of you, and maybe look at Zine and so yeah, I thought you were dead.
Oh, hopefully soon. It's cold, isn't it? No?
No.
It's definitely not cold in here, down in the bowels of the city, but yeah.
God, it's...
Are you feeling all right?
Yeah.
You don't look it.
I'll have a little on our table. I'll kind of have a note with Jan and say, "Have you worked with design before?"
No.
Bad rep. Good guy. Bad rep. Good guy in the terms that it's functionally handy to have him around. Bad rep. If he's here for
Taken
the job,
under advisement.
Yeah, if he's here for the job, it's not going to be a boring one. Do you know the guy speaking to him?
Seen him around.
So, at this, it's not much longer before another individual walks into the Tantalus and looks around. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to tell when someone has turned up, looking around for the random killers and thugs and deviant black hat hackers that they may have brought in for a job, but it is. They walk in dressed in the garb of a kind of low level salaryman, and glance around at everyone in the Tantalus, and his eyes, or the implants that replace his eyes, as we can see from the image there, sort of linger on each of you there and cross over everyone else who's there to, have fun or socialize or visit for the various purposes of the place. He walks over to a completely empty table and sits down at it, sort of nervously tapping with his fingernails and sort of very unstealthily, sort of supposedly surreptitiously glancing over at each of you.
I'm gonna slink over to it and kind of like hurl myself into a chair in the table and kind of like tuck myself in and make sure that I get a look around what the new situation is.
He sort of kind of like takes you in and sort of he's kind of nodding, not at you particularly, but just kind of like, okay. The others of you joining this individual?
I'll turn to H-Star and say, seems to be the person we're waiting for, shall we?
Subtle as a brick wrapped in advertisements. Come on, let's go.
Okay. The two of you join Zine at the table. The man kind of keeps on nodding and kind of like he's kind of very much looking you up and down, especially dwelling on any kind of like, suspicious weapon type bulges under your clothes or just weapons that you're holding overtly, if you are. Wiccan info, are you doing much the same?
Yeah,
I'll go on.
No, you go.
Yes, Wick will sort of look info up and down and sidle over to the other table. Maybe placing the table on the between him and info.
Okay.
Info also kind of scurries over and will actually like greet the guy like, hi, hey, hi, how you doing? Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Okay. Is this all we got? I guess it'll have to do. I guess it'll have to do. You can call me Charlie. Charlie Sand. I found myself with an overabundance of community spirit, and I've got something I can hand over for some people who can take care of something for me. If you're available.
If you're paying, let's say I'm available.
Paying in a way. I've got access to we can talk about a bonus later, but the flat rates, I've got decommissioned patrol car. I need to get it off my hands. So any of you who come back with the job done, who want it, can share it or pay each other for it or whatever. It's in good condition. No tags, not traceable.
I reckon I could help with that.
Yeah. Well, any of you heard of the Lucky Flight? It's entirely up to you whether you have or not. If you have, it's a casino. Quite nearby. A gang-run casino.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, well, I'm from a neighborhood on the border. Sorry, someone is... Can people go on mute if they're on? Thank you. Neighborhood on the border to the ports. The Lucky Flight has manipulated a lot of the neighborhood into debilitating debt. And the gang can... they can take over anytime they want. And we don't want that. We don't want that. I need some troubleshooters to destroy any record of debt and potentially shut down the casino permanently. Does that sound doable?
No pat downs, yeah. If we happen to come across something in the casino that happens to leave with us.
Yeah, you do what you want. I don't care. As long as the debt gets wiped or the casino gets wiped. Or both. Both. Whatever. Either.
Okay, now I've been around here long enough to not bother asking who you're working for, but I'm in.
Like I say, community spirit, right? Look, there's something else. There's a bodega owner called Batu. He attempted to do this on his own, and he hasn't come back. If you can find out what happened while you're in there, I can maybe offer a little extra something. And look, I know you won't keep this quiet, but excessive provocation can make things worse for us. So maybe try to keep a low profile. Mass murder, it adds unnecessary stress. It'll complicate things. You get me?
I will glance awkwardly and probably not as subtly as I'd hoped to towards Zine.
Look, you do what you got to do. I'm just saying it works out better for everyone if you don't just go in and kill everyone. Right?
I guess.
Sure, we'll limit the unnecessary deaths.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
that's a good way to put it.
Right. The only other info I got, the casino has a private power source somewhere below. They when you get there, you look at the top of the building and that'll tell you where they got it from. The debt records are stored in an offline database. So sorry, no easy hacks on this one.
No such thing as an easy hack, mate.
Right. I'll meet you back here in 2 days. Okay? If you haven't done it in 2 days, we're off. It's I just can't hold on to the car that longer. Okay? All right. Have fun, I guess. He stands up from the table and sort of makes his way out speedily and with many looks over his shoulder.
So, can I do some kind of check to see if he's left any sort of listening device, or has in his time there has interfered with the table to
Yeah,
muck with
sure.
us?
Sure, absolutely. Well, that gives us an ideal opportunity to talk about the basic role system, right? So, in order to and this is the same as MÖRK BORG. There's no specific ability for noticing things, but I'd say this is a knowledge roll. From like looking around for various tech things, and all we do is you roll a d20, you add or subtract your ability depending on whether your ability is, level is positive or negative. In the case of Chris here, his knowledge is 1, so we'll be adding 1 to the roll, and then there's a target number, a difficulty rating, which for normal is 12. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's a normal 12 roll. And you've got to equal it or beat it. So, roll your d20 with a +1. Try and beat 12. Or equal or beat 12.
That's appalling.
Yeah. You have no idea. Like, honestly, like, you're kind of looking around the table, like, to see if there could be anything. But the time to lose, particularly this room, has a lot of flashing lights. And the noise from the kind of hover lifters relentlessly flying overhead. Honestly, it's not so much that you can't find anything and there's nothing there, as it is that the sensory overload makes it very difficult for you to even focus on it.
Well, hang on. It's kind of giving a double take towards Wick and going, is your name Wick?
Yeah.
Why do I know that? Are you Decker?
No. My friend was, though.
What was their name?
Oh, pardon me, whilst I just refer to the random number table.
Sorry, that was rude of me.
No bother. It's a nice example of the fun random number tables.
You'll roll Wick again because already 2 of our players rolled Wick as their first name. So
it was Zalek, in fact.
No,
Zalek.
That's weird. Maybe I've seen you on a list somewhere. Never mind. Those days are past me.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with a fucking car? I can't eat a car.
Yeah.
You can sell it for parts if you want.
Where am I going to fucking sell a car?
I think I can probably help. Yeah, I think I could help move the car.
Yeah.
Plus, it's what's in the car and what the car has done in its past that might be worth more.
As people are alluding to, vehicles are both extremely valuable, but also, whether they're useful or not is another matter. So,
Worst case, we strip it for parts and sell the parts. You get a lot for that tungsten armor.
You could certainly get quite a bit of cash that way.
Look, we've not got much time to put this together and get in and out of there, so we should probably start working.
Okay. Now, I don't want to guess for you, but I'm assuming the first order of action is to leave the Tantalus and go to the Lucky Flight. Is that about right?
I would, if possible, you said I kind of recognize maybe 1 or 2 other people in here. Mm-hmm. I'd like to maybe see, because I'm not local, so I'd like to maybe ask them about the casino and see if they know anyone who's a regular who isn't there, who we can get a little bit more information about the place.
Yeah. Why don't you give me a? Is it Presence, the social one? I think it is, right? Why don't you give me a presence roll to ask around? Maybe you have some contacts here you occasionally buy things from or whatever. You could try and ask around and see if you can get anything about the Lucky Flight. And I think that's a fairly easy roll. So I'm going to make the difficulty rating 10 for you on that one.
Sweet. So before everyone, I'll kind of go right. I'm going to go and do some traditional intel gathering. Give me a minute. Stand up and make my roll. Mm-hmm. Yeah, success.
There we go. So you find out a number of things about the Lucky Flight. First off, it is absolutely a front for some kind of gang. No one is sure which gang. there is some lower level gang activity that goes on in there, specifically that people don't think they're the owners, but there's a gang called the Stone Eels who certainly occasionally operate out of there and frequent it. But like I say, people don't think they're the actual owners. Essentially, like most people are aware that the Lucky Flight is there, as most casinos are, to just drain dry the people who come in and out. It doesn't have a particular reputation for ripping people off. And in fact, one of the major reasons most people go there is because they have they frequently have bands playing on a stage in the main room, which people attend. So it's kind of like got a sort of youth culture thing going to it as well. And you know what? I will give you some more useful information there. The closing time of the Lucky Flight is between 7 and 10 a.m., so only 3 hours. And you also know that bands play every night between 8 in the evening and 3 in the morning. And that's just the general operational knowledge of it.
I think we'll try and leave the bar, and I'll share this information freely, kind of when we're all kind of on street side.
Cool.
Okay. Well, you walk out of the Tantalus, presumably together, and onto the busy, wretched, darkened streets overhead, where normally you would see all the sort of vehicles powering up from the airport and kind of flinging themselves to the sky. Instead, you just see sort of undulating, flickering gaps of light where there are breaks in the vast cloud of locusts that buzz overhead. However, let's have something fun. Who would like to make a random roll for me? Jonny, I saw your hand go up first. Could you roll a d12 for me, please?
Sure can. That is the number 1.
The number 1. You just rolled on the weather table there, Jonny, and the result is heavy black rain. And that is coming down in the gaps between the locusts, like a sort of sporadic downpour of sickly smelling oil-like substance that splatters on your clothes and on the ground and on the buildings around you. Occasionally, a locust tumbles from the sky in front of you. They're quite large and unpleasant and unnatural looking, and they sort of spasm on the ground, drowned and coated in this viscous liquid that seems to be causing them to have some kind of biological breakdown.
After a few moments of wandering, the group would probably notice my small robotic dog that was wandering behind initially, and then I think comes to sort of heel next to me.
Do people eat the locusts?
I think the question isn't do people eat the locusts. I think the question is does Zine eat the locusts?
I think Zine eats the locusts.
Absolutely.
There's no food around, and I have no cash.
Absolutely. Well, are you just going to scoop one up and start gnawing on it?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Let's do something fun with this, shall we?
Oh God, does it have a I eat the thing table?
It doesn't have an I eat the thing table, but I'm almost tempted to try and find a MÖRK BORG table that might apply to something like this.
Cool.
But, you know what? I'll just kind of make up something in my head.
I thought it would be the magic
instead.
that would kill me, but you know.
I'll make up something in my head instead. How about that?
Toughness roll?
Let's say no. Well, let's think about this. Let's give me a D6 roll, Justin.
1.
1. Okay, yeah, make a toughness roll for me, please. Just a standard toughness roll.
I got 7.
So that's a fail, right?
Probably.
It's against a 12, so yeah. You crunch on that locust, and it obviously tastes repulsive. The locust itself tastes somewhat neutral, but the foul black liquid coating it is not pleasant. And fairly soon, your stomach starts to turn over and churn inside you with an unpleasant sensation. You feel like you need to vomit and shit at the same time, but neither of them particularly seems to be wanting to come out. Take 1 hit point.
Cool.
Taking you down to 1 hit point, I believe.
That's good. We're good. We're doing good. This is what I want.
We're doing good. So, are we making our way straight to the lucky flight?
I think I'd be leaning over to Jan and saying 20 credits says he doesn't make it through the night.
I'm
not
not
worked with him
taking
before,
that
have
bet.
you?
Nice dog, by the way.
Thanks. Nice laser turret. Could come in handy. Slightly conspicuous. Maybe.
Well, it's pretty good at hiding when it needs to be. But yeah, I'll keep it out of sight.
So you make your way through, as I say, the very crowded and repugnant streets of Big Moss before you reach the edge of it, where a large, foul-smelling canal runs through the city, splitting you off from the ports on the far side. You can see those aerial vehicles kind of lifting off. It's like when you're kind of near a flock of birds and they're just almost constantly, one or two of them is taking off. It's like that, but much more unpleasant, with all of them with glaring lights of various colors shining bright enough to sort of pass over you and illuminate the street around you as they sort of try and navigate their way through the chittering clouds of locusts above them. Ahead of you is the Lucky Flight Casino. It is a crumbling apartment complex crowned with a hotel built from 3 repurposed low-orbit shuttles. The casino floor makes up part of the lower levels and the main entrance seems to be accessed either via vehicles on graffiti-covered bridges that arc overhead or from the ground where you are via a series of broken escalators. There is quite a lot of noise coming from it. Shall we randomly generate the time of day we're at? I think I'd like it to be open, but other than that, let's randomly generate the time of day. I don't know who wants to. Jonny's done a random generation. How about Chris? You do the next one. Could you just give me a D20 roll, please?
It is 14.
It is 14. So let's add that to when it opens, which is 10 in the morning. So it is. I'm bad at this. Midnight. Spot on midnight. There we go. Okay, yeah, midnight, which means there's a band playing. And it is, there are people going in and out all the time. You can see there are definitely some bouncers on the door. Yeah.
There's no other. So you said the vehicles kind of come in via the kind of the arterial vehicle level above us.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence of any kind of service kind of slipway on our level, is there?
There doesn't look to be anything like that. If you're asking me more broadly about other entrances, you're going to have to do some scout work to find out about that. But certainly from your vantage here, you can see 2 ways in, vehicles leading to the front door, and also leading to the front door, a series of broken escalators going up to it from the ground level where you are.
Let's kiss the joint, I think.
So I'll be staring up at the shuttles and just sort of say aloud, so this power source from one of them then?
Say so. An old F drive or something. Probably pretty dangerous.
So we're mentioning casing the joint internally or externally?
Externally was my kind of my plan. So I'm gonna. I want to know, how do these bands get in and out? I think that's a good. You ever wanted to be in a band, Jan?
Frivolous.
It's a good name. Yeah, frivolous 5-piece. We can do it. But yeah, let's see how. Go ahead.
I imagine they come in vehicles, right?
Yeah. Well, look, let's do a lap. Worst case, we might learn of another way in.
Okay. So is everyone going with HLR in this, or are the people planning something different?
I'm certainly casing. Jan's cased a number of buildings out in the wastelands, so it's something that he's used to looking out for. So
Sure. How about the other three?
I'm going to do whatever Zine does because I'm very fascinated by his head, and if he eats another locust and dies, I want to be there.
Wow.
That's cool. I am going to use my grappling hook crossbow to see if I can rappel up the opposite building to get onto the roof and look down.
Maybe a different point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
okay.
Let's see if that works.
Absolutely. Well,
I doubt.
Let's have a look. For the grappling hook crossbow, I'm going to say that a successful ascent will be an agility test, depending on with a difficulty that's dependent on how rough that building is, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly generate how rough that building is for you to go up. It's super easy. So what would we think would be like a super easy building to scale with a grappling hook? Like something with a lot of protrusions, I guess?
A lot of holes in.
A lot of holes in, right? Yeah. It looks, this building opposite it, which is it's basically a disused shell of a building, and it's pitted all over with like gouges out of the concrete and steel, which basically
not
makes
too many sharp
like,
gouges, please.
No, like soft, odd, melted, like basically like it's had some kind of acidic weapon blasted over.
I think it was just the last one shot where my character put their hand through a rusty spike while climbing up a rope on the side of a building.
That sounds familiar. So you know what? It's pretty easy to make that ascent, Justin. So can you make me an agility roll, please?
So with
a difficulty of, I'm going to say it's a difficulty of 8.
With my 1 in agility, does that just add 1 to the roll?
Correct. So you want to get 8 or over, and it'll add 1 to the roll.
I rolled an 18. Well, I rolled 17 and got 18 overall.
Lovely. Smoothly, silkily. I'm going to say that unless you want the others to know, they might not have even noticed.
I think
going.
Enfo is almost certainly noticed.
Yeah.
Like,
and maybe the others just hear a kind of noise. It's like you fucking Batman up to the top of that roof. You clamber over the edge of it, and you've got to like watch your footing a little bit because these like weird sort of softened holes are everywhere. But you can definitely get a really good look at the Lucky Flight up from where you are. Wick, how about you? I'm assuming Enfo is just stood there like. But Wick, are you going with HLR and Jan, or are you?
I think I will again kind of slip into the shadows. I'm going to activate my optic camo, which is the sort of like the beetle-like shell platings that I've got on, and I'll be looking around, or at least I'll be using my sort of spider turret crawler thing to look around for like ducts or ports or service hatches or stuff like that.
Yeah, like things that maybe your turret can get into that people wouldn't be able to get into. Okay, sure. So I think we've got some different roles here. And I think we'll start with the person in the best position to do it, which is Zine. And please, can you give me then? And again, like there's no particular perception stat in the game, but I think the general consensus. Well, it's shoot as well, right? So I think presence is like the way to go.
They're basically all 0. So
yeah. So if you can give me a presence roll. And you know what? I'm gonna give you a literally a difficulty of 6 for this because I think you're an exceptional vantage point.
Roll
so
a 15.
15. Yeah. Okay. So And you know what? I'm going to go round and we're going to make the rolls first, and then I'll give the info dependent on it. Hlar and Jan, can you both give me a presence roll, please, at a difficulty of 10?
I've rolled a 7 + 1.
Okay, so we've got that. Wick, I think what you're doing is a bit more challenging, and also is like maybe a knowledge roll rather than a presence roll, because you're using your tech, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I think it's that, and I think that's a difficulty 14, because I think you're trying to I'm assuming you're basically using your turret's optical systems rather than your own, so as it crawls over this thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably quite challenging. So if you can give me a knowledge roll at 14, please.
Okay. I do not succeed. I get an 8.
Okay. Info, what are you doing while this is going on? If anything, or are you just staring up at where Zine has vanished?
I think I spend a fair amount of time just staring where Zine is, just in case it slips and falls. And then I might sort of realize I'm being really obvious and try and look around to see if anyone is watching us or me.
So kind of keeping a lookout, basically.
Yeah.
Sure. Why don't you give me just a standard presence roll for that, please?
Okay. That's only a 5.
Yeah, you got no idea if anyone's watching or not. So a couple of things then that we see from here. So Zine, from your vantage point up on that roof, there is definitely one thing very apparent that you can see, which is in addition to the main entrance, which is serviced by that bridge and the escalators going up, over on from where, if you're looking dead on at the entrance, over on the right side of the building, kind of like maybe a floor up from that entrance, looks to be, to your eyes, some kind of back door at the top of a series of grated stairs and balconies, accessed from an alley to the side of the building. Like a fire escape, albeit one that's got several purposeful kind of gates in it to stop or slow people getting up, at least. And you can see that very clearly, yes.
Does it look like you could get in from the top without anything, or is it fully caged off, all sort of sides?
It's like, the balconies and the stairs
enclosed.
have cages over them at the top, and they have regular gates. None of it looks like particularly difficult security to either unpick or batter through, but it would
cut through or something,
or something like that. But there is at least an attempt at stopping people from progressing. But no, you couldn't, for example, grapple up to the top and get down through it unless you were kind of contortionist.
Or made out of nanobots.
Yeah. As for other successes, Hlar, you rolled a success when you were kind of scouting around the side of the place, and you yourself find something else as you go round the building, sort of paying a lot of attention to things around you. The building itself is almost flush with that canal I mentioned that splits you off from the port. And as you're walking along there, you take a glance down towards the unpleasant, slightly iridescent surface of that canal water, and you see below you, because the canal is at least maybe 3 floors down, essentially, underground, but about 3 floors down, you see that about 1 floor's length below the side of the casino is what seems to be a taxi boat pier. There's a lot of boats that make their way around the canals of Psy, and you can see that there seems to be a place for them to moor down by the canal that leads into some kind of tunnel running underneath in the general direction of the casino.
Does it seem busy?
No.
Okay. Next question. Does it seem neglected?
No.
Okay.
The moorings seem to be kept in some kind of condition.
So I'll kind of point this out to Jan and see if I can. My little retcon device. Can we agree that we've exchanged friend codes on that so we can kind of communicate? I think that's something we can do.
Yeah, sure. I think that's absolutely fine. You know what I'll say though, because the tech in this is meant to be unreliable. Because you've got the retcoms are like your retinal implants, right? That let you access like AR and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd say you can communicate between them, but you know what? Every time you do, I want you to roll a d6 and tell me the result, and I'll say how well the message gets across.
Brilliant.
So
Well,
you
I'll probably just
give the message, roll it, and then roll the die.
But maybe can I, having done this kind of short-term casing of the joint, can I see info kind of standing and looking like an absolute lollipop in the middle of the street?
Yeah, because like you're no, if you're where the canal is, you can't because you're actually on the other side of the building.
So I'll be on my way back round then to meet
Okay.
up with everyone.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So are you using this retcom?
No, I don't think so. I think because I know that Jan, are you with me or are you?
Yeah, I think we'd have probably, because we're just doing the one level, aren't we? So there's no point us splitting off if we're just doing a circle.
Yeah.
And what about Wick? Where did you head off to?
Wick's lurking in the shadows.
Oh yes, of course he failed the shadow rock roll. Okay, so I think we'll just go. My intention is to go back around the front and see how many people I can see before opening a communication.
Yeah. You can see info there, and Wick, it's up to you whether you've decided this is a lost cause and sort of.
Yeah, I'd have sort of yes, be standing on the side of the street, not near info, kind of the opposite side maybe, and hopefully slightly less obvious.
Yeah, I think I'll go up to info and be like, so I didn't catch your name at the bar earlier.
It's info.
Info, nice to meet you. You look like a lollipop. Can we go somewhere a little bit less obvious?
Thank you. Yes. Let's go.
Justin, can I have you? You probably can't hear them from up here, down talking below, but you can definitely see that the others have gathered down there. Can you also give me a D100 roll, please? Because I would like a random city event.
Okie dokie. It is 25.
Okay. As you are you making your because you could just make the descent with the grapple gun, like you just grab it and just release it.
I don't want to roll again.
No, you don't need to roll again.
I'm also very conspicuous up there because my head glows like a
right?
like a light,
like a target,
like a street lamp.
Yeah.
I love the idea that all of the locusts are beginning to sort of flock around your head.
Yeah,
moths.
A sniper's delight. So, you as you are kind of descending, you can see that sort of on the other. When I asked for these, by the way, feel free to use them somehow, but they're never meant to be like a hook prompt or anything. That you could just treat them as flavor or as interactable, whatever you want. You can see that sort of round the other side of the building, in a sort of like not an alleyway area. It's like almost like a little open plaza that's for a long time been disused because the buildings around here are horribly desiccated by acid. There is what seems to be a 5 gang members, 2 of which are fighting another 3 in a rather desperate knife fight, where no one has any energy or breath enough to yell at each other, and they're just sort of desperately making huffing noises and jabbing and stabbing at each other. There is one of them kind of on the floor, completely still in a puddle of blood.
Does anyone care if you kill any? Like
No.
like no one cares, right?
No.
Right.
No.
Cool.
Well, that's not entirely true.
If you kill someone in the mob, the mob cares.
The limited janitorial staff of Psycare, but that's about it.
Fair enough.
Nice source of protein though.
And yeah, like, could they be in the gang that runs that place?
It's possible. Every area of
I said that out
Psy
loud as well.
is like, sure, but to respond to it, every area of Psy is, for every block there are 10 gangs. Like, so maybe not. You suspect if they were running a casino, they wouldn't be having a rather pathetic little knife fight out here in an alleyway. But as I said, you do what you want with it. Everyone is gathered. Shall we share information?
There looks like there's like a way up over there, kind of pointing towards the staircase. It's all caged off.
That's good. All I found was the canal entrance, which is just another way in.
No, I didn't find any decent service ports, so
I couldn't see the power source from up top, did I, Matt? Or anything like
You
that?
couldn't. Charlie Sand did say it was somewhere below, like in a basement or something.
Sure,
like that.
And I didn't notice anyone surveying us, which is good news.
Good work, my strange friend. The stairs?
Yeah, I kind of like pull, maybe like put my bony hand around H Lar's arm and kind of pull him towards where the stairs are and point up at them.
One like distended, creepy.
We haven't got creepy fingers yet. That's what happens if I.
Oh yeah, that's your infestation thing, isn't it?
If you think they're creepy and long now, or wait for the future.
But fortunately, they'll be creepy and they'll be long, but they'll probably be on a corpse. So yeah, like I say, this kind of like gated set of balconies and stairs, like a fire escape, leading up to what looks like a door on. See, the map says first floor, but we term things slightly different in here. So to me, it's the second floor. But
if it's gated, does that mean it's not guarded?
There do not look to be guards there.
Okay.
What about a little bit of electronic surveillance? Are these like? I assume these gates are locked, but are they kind of electronically locked as well?
No, it all looks to be physical from where you're standing here. But until you get up, you've got to try it basically to fully know. But they definitely look like just battered mechanical.
That all looks right. So here's it. Look, I don't want to go in via the canals because that means we have to pay to go in. I'm not hiring a boat at this time of the night. I like the idea of the stairs because that's analog style. That's old school. I don't see that's not like turret covered weight logging stairs. That's just a flight of flipping. And the front entrance, like, we're not troubadours. Like, we're not going to pull this off by acting.
I mean, just to be clear, the clientele are people who look exactly like you. So you could definitely go in and just scope the place as quote unquote punters. But
I might be able to
entirely up to you.
I might be able to take a closer look at the stairs, but it can fuck up sometimes.
Do we just go in? Get out of the rain. Yeah, let's case the joint from the inside then.
I'm just gonna say, if there's no one around and we could, we don't mind a bit of noise, I can get us through those gates. Probably get us through the locks. I sort of twitch my trench coat aside to show quite haphazard looking steel cutter chainsaw just sort of hanging on the inside of my trench coat.
Nice.
Oh, you are not built for stealth, my friend.
Nope.
That's good to know, but I think we should do as much soft recon first.
Soft
we
recon
might be able
first,
to figure out,
then the wet recon.
We might be able to find out where those stairs lead inside.
Exactly.
And then
I don't
break out of them.
Or break into them when we know where we're going to end. I don't know. Look, If we had time to plan this, we'd have a week to do the job. We got 2 days. Let's go and get out of the rain, if nothing else.
Well, I doubt they're going to let me in through the front door with this turret. So
And then we're outside.
Can
you not maybe compact it and just put it in a backpack or something?
Sure. Oh well, I do have that the mule pocket, the stealth thing. It says it's large enough for a smart gun. It doesn't say how large a smart gun is, but
I think your crawler drone can be a smart gun is like a sort of large pistol size, I think.
Okay.
You can probably just compact down the crawler drone until it looks like a little pack that you can just carry on your back
sure.
or something.
Cool.
I think. I'm fine with that.
Sounds good.
That's adorable.
Yeah. People don't take your weapons off you in Sci.
Cool.
Because otherwise everyone, every cloakroom of every place would need to be a size of a fucking warehouse. So, so we just proceeding on foot up these kind of broken escalators up to the front of the establishment. Okay,
sounds
then.
Good.
There we go. Well then, let's talk about the entrance to the Lucky Flight Casino. As you approach the foot of this sort of repurposed apartment complex, you can see that ahead of you there are two bouncers, sort of both of them having one side of their face kind of shielded off by some kind of cybernetics that maybe it reads sort of like alerts or something like that, or maybe it just makes them look a bit intimidating. It's sort of difficult to say. They are wearing sort of corporate style security gear with no indicator of who owns it or runs it, just as you can see, like a security thing emblazoned across it. So it's all kind of very anonymous in terms of who or what might be responsible for this level of security. In terms of weapons, they are just carrying shock sticks. No guns are visible on their person. There is a stench of stale beer, synthetic tobacco, vomit, and piss. The entire entranceway and a little sort of lobby inside is covered in stickers of graffiti. The main thing you can hear is the sound of the city and the buzzing from a broken body heat sensor. It is also, this entranceway is, as well as the bouncers, you can see it's full of drunk guests who are kind of socializing and talking to each other above the noise of the city and the echoing, banging noise of the music inside. There are a number of chip exchange machines in this little kind of lobby hallway that are emblazoned with sort of pop-up lights saying how they are definitely protected against basic forms of kind of manipulation or hacking, kind of hack-proof, safeguard sort of stuff. As with most casinos, you don't gamble with your money, you gamble with the chips that you purchase using your money. Because as every game company knows in the 21st century, you can make far more money with your own currency. Justin?
Can I check to see if anyone has dropped or left any chips around?
You know what? Yeah, let's... Well, give me... why don't you give me a presence roll? And just give me a standard one.
Mm-hmm.
And let me know... Let's just see how much you might succeed or fail by. So just
roll a 6. And that is
roll
it.
a 6. So that is a failure. Yeah. No, nothing. You don't find
Fuck.
Out of curiosity, are any of you using the chip exchange machines? You won't be able to gamble inside unless you use the chip exchange machines.
Do you know what? I'm feeling lucky.
Sure.
Let's see. Just double checking I think I have pretty much zero money, or effectively zero money.
I believe on here you have 90 credits. 90 creds.
I think I'll swap like, I don't know, 5 creds out for chips.
Big spender.
Is that big?
No.
Yeah.
Shall we, like, for a comparison point of how much, I don't know, let's look exactly at how much money might represent, because obviously as someone who lives in the UK in October 2022, I'm not sure how much music currency represents. 5 creds will get you a backpack, a magnesium strip, a spray can. So that's the kind of cost that is.
Yeah, so it feels like, do you know what? Screw it, money. Whatever happens tonight, I'm either walking out with 85 credits still in my bank account, or I'm walking out with the 85,000 credits I need to pay off my loan. So,
or you're remaining here dead. I mean, that is always an option.
Yeah, sure.
So 5 creds from Big Spender HLA. Is anyone else getting any chips?
I'll exchange 30, I reckon.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Anyone else?
Zine knows he's down in his luck, even though he's got more money than the rest of these sad fucks. He's still cheap. He's still flipping poor, and he's not. He's eating cockroaches. This guy's messed up.
Sure.
Info does not go to casinos to win. Info goes to casinos to watch people lose. So I'm going to keep my credits as credits.
Sure. That seems sensible. Okay. I assume we're just kind of proceeding through the entrance into the main area, unless anyone wants to do anything else. No.
I'll be looking around for security cameras, that sort of stuff. But
give me a presence roll at difficulty 8.
Can I roll as well? Because I'll be doing similar.
Yeah.
I'm presence -1. I rolled 13, so 12.
I rolled 12 plus 1, 13.
Yep. So both of you notice a camera, very poorly disguised, flush against a sign in that entrance lobby. Like it was an attempt at hiding it. It was a very bad attempt at hiding it. So yeah, there's a camera in here. You proceed into the main room of the Lucky Flight. And we'll go on to using a map in a little bit, but first let's talk about what it looks like. The 2 main features of this room are that it has a large circular stage in the center of the room on which a band is playing. There are an incredible amount of slot machines placed around, mostly flush against the walls, and a number of doors and passageways leading off to other areas. There are many guests roaming around the floor, and servers moving around, kind of proffering drinks and actually no food, just drinks and drugs. And there's also a couple of people with little chip exchange like machines like tied around their neck. And also in the room are who's our next for a random roll? It's John, right? John, can you give me a D6 roll, please? I am not. Yeah, I'm looking at other things, so you do need to say it out loud. You can only see 1 security individual in there. They're dressed slightly different from the bouncers, and they look to be equipped with a taser. There is a vending machine bar at the back of the room offering bad premixed drinks and cheap fab printed snacks. There's a set of stairs that seem to lead up to a VIP balcony. It has a chain and a plastic sign marking it off limits. The whole vibe of the place is tacky. It's space themed, seemingly inspired by the shuttles that make up the roof of this building. It's run down. There is a sticky floor, intrusive air conditioning smell of artificial chemical roses, and an obnoxious noise, which is the band. And speaking of that band, Steve, can you give me a D6 roll to see which band it is playing tonight, please?
Certainly. 1.
It is a band called Phaser Mob. That's Phaser/Mob. They're playing a genre called Blackened Chromecore. Now, what Blackened Chromecore does, it's extremely aggressive to the point where the music essentially just sounds like building work with someone screaming at the top of their lungs with maybe cybernetically enhanced vocal cords that don't actually just bleedingly shred from the effort the singer is making. It gets your pulse pounding, not only with the audio of it, but probably with some level of kind of subliminal things buried into the electronica that make up the music. That is what the scene looks like. And just so you know, listening to Blackened Chromecore increases the chance to hit and decreases the chance to defend should combat occur.
Nice.
I think Info is a big fan of Blackened Chromecore to the point where he has been trying to learn how to play his chainsaw.
Sure, absolutely. Let's do that. So at this point as well, obviously we've got that image there, but also we do have a bit of mapping for this one. We're using the free site Owlbear Rodeo for that. So John, have you got the link? And
Yeah.
if so, could you go onto it, make sure you're fogged, and then bring it up on screen for us? Because it occurs to me, I was like, oh, the others can, but the others don't need to. They can see it on the screen.
Let me just... Am I fogged? I think I am.
You should be,
Yeah.
unless you can see everything. Yes, you are fogged. Yes.
Cool.
Go
I'll bring it
ahead
up.
and bring it up for us. So there we go. Can you full screen that in any way or zoom in a little bit? Is that possible? It might not
I
be.
can do... no.
That is better, though, I think.
Okay, let's go like
it
that.
Makes it
and I can
slightly
also...
larger. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Cutting off the bottom a bit, but...
That's fine, but the bottom bit is just leading out to the road and the escalators. So you can see the little entrance lobby there. This is what the stage and slots area look like. You can see that VIP stairs leading up at the bottom there, and you can see that the stage is like the circular area there in the middle. There's a set of doors to your left as you come in, as you can see. You can see where the doors and the passageways are, I think. So, yeah. So you can investigate however you want, really.
Can I buy? Is the are the servers selling Sea Vortex?
I don't know what Sea Vortex is, or
It's a
if
drug.
it's something you've just made up. You know what? Give me a D6 roll.
6.
Yeah, they certainly are. And you know what? With a 6, they're selling it for less than it would normally cost. What does it normally cost? Do you know?
Normally costs for a good amount 70, but like for a fun amount 15. That's
Okay,
the thing.
they're selling it for 10.
Okay. I'm going to be buying the good amount.
Oh, okay, so how much is a good amount?
At 70. It's just because that's the amount that you can use to get bonuses on nano rolls,
on
which
nano
I think I
stuff.
would like.
Okay, that's 60 creds then.
Then I will buy. I will spend 60 of my 100 creds on
For
drugs
dose of-
immediately.
For a dose
Well,
of Sea
it's
Vortex.
more like, I think, at that rate, it's like 5 doses, which is how much you need to take for it to actually be useful.
Yeah, for you to actually be able to use it for the mechanical purpose. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Zine is busy doing that with a server who's desperately trying not to glance up at the light leaking out from underneath Zine's hood. Let's go around one by one, because we don't, obviously, if you walk around, most of the people in here are on their own. So if you walk around as a group going, look, there's a thing there. Look at that camera. Like, it might be a bit suspicious. You can do it if you want. But why don't we go around one by one, and you can tell me if you're in pairs or if you're in a group or whatever, and what you're doing. And let's just go left to right, right? So, Steve, what is Wick doing, and who are they prospectively doing it with?
Okay, so I'll be heading over to the slots, I think, just to start with, just to get an eye on the place. But I might, as I'm walking past Hla, just sort of say to him quietly, how good are you? because cracking that
Yeah.
that database is not going to be easy.
Database is physical, mate. We'll have to find it first.
Well, I hope you're good, because if it goes wrong, well, it's not pretty. And then I'll head over to the slot and try my luck.
All right. And there is, of course, a section on gambling in this thing. So can you give me a 3d6 roll, please?
3d6, certainly. Any particular order or just...
No, the total.
Ooh, okay. 13. 661.
You use the slots for a few minutes, and you end up with, it, on the whole, quite a decent result. How much did you put in?
Let's say 5 of my 30.
Okay, you get 5 back.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of using it as a bit of cover, looking around, you know.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. If you are using it to look around to try and get extra details or something, why don't you give me a presence roll?
Cool. No, the machine was too flashy. I rolled a 4.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, info. What's info doing?
I think I will be investigating one of the random offshoot rooms.
Sure. So obviously I'm kind of indicating with my mouse here, and not to, obviously no one can see it. There's, as far as like, once you wander around this room a bit, you can definitely get a sense of like where the other rooms are, right? So essentially you see at the bottom where there's like by the VIP stairs, there is a door kind of leading off to a room down there. Oh yeah, you can, around there. There is sort of up in the center above the stage there is what seems to be like a relatively small room. At the top left, there are passageways leading to what may be a larger room. And then there's a room just below that that's kind of odd-shaped, like almost L-shaped, that has some doors in it. The ones that seem frequented often is everything but the kind of the bottom room, which doesn't seem to have anyone going in and out of it. But the others have guests going in and out of them frequently.
Okay. I'm going to start with a non-suspicious investigation and maybe I'm going to go for this center room above the stage.
For that room there, well, let me tell you, you have picked the most exciting room in the building, John. You have picked, my friend, the... how do I get rid of stuff here? Enable fog cutting. Do I do that? I can't remember how I get rid of stuff here. What's that? Fog brush? No.
It's an exciting room, John.
Yeah, it is.
Hope you're going to get real excited about it.
I am. I really am.
Zine was also going to head that way after he'd finished arguing with whoever he's buying this drugs off.
Yeah.
Like really loudly and obnoxiously.
Oh my god, I literally can't figure out how to get rid of the fog. That's exciting.
Well, that's
last time.
We can keep stalling if you like.
Please do.
It's going to be the toilets, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, has that worked? Yeah, has that worked? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is the fucking toilets.
Fantastic.
And let me tell you about these toilets. There is an overwhelming smell. Obviously, there's like the thundering of the chrome core rattling everything inside. There is a real smell of chlorine, fake lavender, and sewage. Vileness concealed by chemicals. They're apparently self-cleaning, but they're still nasty. There are 4 patrons cutting some kind of deal by the basins, and there is a flickering neon sign that says, "Remember to refill." And also, every time we go into a new room in this building, folks, you get to roll on the essentially the random cyborg casino encounter table.
Excellent.
So, John, can you give me a D8 roll, please?
D8. 8.
No, we're looking for ones.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to re-roll?
Well, it says 1 in 8. And I'm going to say that it's a 1 rather than an 8.
Okay.
So, yeah. There we go.
That is a
let
nice
it
literal
all
way of
down,
interpreting
John.
it.
Yeah, so nothing particularly happening in here,
Okay.
clearly.
There's shit all happening here.
Terrible. Terrible. Okay. And now I can't get rid of the last piece of that fog. That's so weird.
We should never use technology.
It's so weird, genuinely. I don't know the different rules of what it's
This
doing.
literally worked without any issue.
Yeah, I
when we were
know
doing last time.
when we've done it before, but no fog to cut, it says. And you say that, and yet there is fog there. Never mind, it's fine. So Zine, as we've said, is negotiating a good price for the Sea Vortex. Hla, what about you?
After maybe a quick after a quick circuit to see what's going on, I'm going to kind of move along that left side wall, past those slot machines and kind of the center left, and through those double doors there on the left side to see what transpires.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we can. Let's see if we can do something about that with the fog. How's that? Nope. Good Lord, this is frustrating. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, literally, it just doesn't work anymore. Like what I did to get rid of the old stuff doesn't work.
What we need is a hacker.
Yeah, this is actually
a
very
job.
frustrating. Can we just move the fog? No, we can't move the fog.
Blame it on a nanotech infestation.
Indeed.
Yeah. This is frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, it's got like it's got like a fog cutting tool, and then like you draw it, and then nothing happens. In fact, that added fog.
That's good. We know we can change things. It's not immutable.
Enable fog cutting. Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
You can't
See,
go in there.
There we go. So literally, I
Really?
just did exactly the same thing.
Fantastic.
Is it maybe determined by where you start drawing?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, because that kind of worked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, you've uncovered another room of gambling, perhaps unsurprisingly, in this casino. This is themed around a kind of hazy, relaxed paradise island. Glitching hollow projections of the beach are all around you. Large plastic ferns covered in dust and grime and a smoke-filled air. There are lively guests and chatty croupiers. And can you give me both a D6 roll and that random encounter D8 roll, please?
On the D6, we've got a 5.
There are, in that case, 5 Secops roaming around the room, all with tasers. And what did you get for your D8?
I got an 8.
Well then, nothing. Oh, actually, no. There are 5 Secops roaming around, and there are 2 more at the door who gave you sort of definitely non-veiled glances when you came in, and they are armed more severely with 9mm. So it's quite a bit in this room.
I think this is the room where I'm going to do a little bit of gambling. I think I'll see if there's a kind of cyber blackjack table with
Sure.
free seats.
Yeah. Go for it.
And I will fritter away all my money.
Okay, well, give me a 3d6 roll then, please.
9. 5, 1, 3.
And how much did you have?
5 credits worth.
Well, that's 5 credits you're not seeing again.
Oh well.
But on the plus side, you didn't end up owing anything.
Oh.
Oh, that's a possibility, right? Okay.
Oh yes.
Oh wow.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
You should have done something productive, like spend your money on drugs.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? We've gone past Zine's thing as well. So what I'm going to do too is I'm going to clear some extra fog here, which Zine and anyone else who took a look at the stairs can definitely intuit. Okay? So let's see if this clear works. It does not. Yeah, you seem to have to do it from like a weirdly long way away from the actual fog, which is kind of insane. And then either does work or doesn't. Like literally, there is no consistency in what I was just doing about whether it worked or whether it didn't. There we go.
So it kind of winds around the building, the side of the building.
Yeah. And
cool.
Your best guess would be that the doorway goes into this area at the bottom of the image. Jan, what are you doing?
If either we've discussed or I spot that Info and HLAR have kind of taken those two sort of left-hand and upper sections, so as to not be too intrusive before we get the ground floor checked, I'll go because what I really want to do is probably see if I can get up the VIP steps. I don't know if there's a guard there, but I'll probably go into that bottom room or at least poke my head in, depending on if it's actually accessible.
I don't think that it definitely didn't say that there's guard. There are no guards in it. It's just chained with a sign across it. But I think I also said that there's only one SecOp kind of patrolling the main room at the moment. So maybe sneaking up wouldn't be impossible. But did you say you're going to this basically the remaining area at the top? Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So let me see how the fog clearing treats me for this one. Badly. Is literally. I wonder if literally like they're just it's just inconsistent because whatever they're holding this on is not good at taking inputs. Yeah. Because literally there doesn't seem to be any. Okay, there we go. But I'm literally doing the same thing over and over again, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Welcome to life.
Yeah. Or maybe that's it. It's so weird. You get what it is now, though, right? Because I've uncovered enough of it, I think.
Yes.
Yes. So we can talk about what this is then. It is Hollow Games, which I actually have an image for to kind of indicate to you what that actually looks like. It's essentially like sort of crazy, low-quality AR, VR LARPing.
Okay.
There we go. There's a lovely image of what it looks like. Sort of Laser Quest mixed with LARPing, all in quite a contained area where a lot of the external projections of what people can see via the VR and the AR is limited to like the small area around them. Because they're in like ringed off areas and are sort of thrashing around interacting with this stuff. You can't really interact with it from outside the games, but you can sort of observe the rough area around people in the realities they're perceiving. To describe the room itself, it is, as you might imagine, somewhat stroboscopic, and there's a massive sensory overload from all these colors and lights and projections around you. You feel soaked to the skin in sweat, perfume, and artificial smoke. You're surrounded by fairly young teens, drunk on hormones and high on drugs, and another bouncer to ensure that things don't get out of control. And that's about it.
Okay. Don't think there's anything I need in here. Head back out to the main room.
That's fair. That's fair. So let's go back to this view that we've got here. And do we want to kind of reconvene? Do we think that would be a good idea at this point? Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Let's reconvene. Phaser Mob are still playing, and it's time to decide your next steps. But more than that, it's time to decide that it's a break. So we're going to hop off for about 10 minutes now, folks. So we'll be back shortly. Pop stuff in chat if you want. It's a good time. And obviously, hugely enjoy the obnoxious adverts that will undoubtedly come your way. We'll see you in 10 minutes.